Hi, welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Iris Acker, and I'm your host tonight. We're calling this show Two Pianos and Four Hands. Let's meet our panel. Bill Hirschman, who is a theater critic and chief editor for FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. Karen Stevens, an award-winning actress and a writer. And Michael McKeever, who is a playwright, actor, and a scenic designer. Today's two guests, let's welcome them. Kirk Whipple and Marilyn Morales, who call themselves the Unconservatory. But before we start things off, let's watch them in action. It's been a long time. Marilyn, Kirk, welcome again. How many years? We've lost track.
I don't even want to say, but it's not going to be this long again.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So much has happened. So much has happened.
It has.
Okay, we're talking from back then to now. Let's talk about, what do you really do?
Well, everything. But right now, actually, I just finished a musical. I wrote the dialogue and the music, all of it, and I had a great arranger with me, and he's kind of my slave. No.
Yes, her willing slave. She's actually written and of course I'm very biased about this, but she's written a wonderful musical about the Cuban American experience. Covers a broad range of time. There's an awful lot of great music in it, wonderful songs, incidental music, stories.
It's called Always Remember.
Yeah.
So
and this is one box or one of a kind?
2 years ago, we did a concert version premiere in Massachusetts, and the whole choir surprised me because the musical starts and ends with the music box that we couldn't take with us. And so Kirk recorded the beginning of it.
Playing this theme.
I love it. Very, very,
Wow.
very
Lovely.
nice. That's lovely. What a wonderful idea. So always remember.
Always remember.
Okay, always remember, and I always remember what you've done before. It was just the two of you, no orchestra behind you. I mean, I'm going way back.
Yes.
And now you have the Unconservatory. Where did you come upon that title to begin with?
Well, it describes our process, the way we approach music, and people seem to forget Beethoven and Bach and all of these wonderful composers that we've come to know and love. At one point, they were unknown, uncommon, unconservative. They were rebels. Mm-hmm. And once people accept their music, once people get to know about it, you need conservatories to preserve their music. And so the Unconservatory shows the journey of something that needs to be known into something that we'll all know and love.
It's so wonderful. You have, in the 2 minutes that we've been talking, you have this wonderful chemistry with each other, and in doing the research, we saw the chemistry on stage and off. It's really lovely. How did you two meet? How did this wonderful union come about?
Well, we married at a piano competition. I'll give you the short version.
No. I say the most important part.
Okay.
I beat him in
Yes.
the piano.
I always try to stop her from saying, but okay.
He
But
had to marry the competition.
but I won the prize. And
Yeah.
I'm I'm married to my work and I love her. What can I say?
So that's good. So are you still competing?
No.
longer.
I think
Yes, we are.
I feel like we're always learning from each other, and we keep each other on our toes.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Some
It's
people
very
ask,
nice.
well, does it ever get crazy always being together on the road, working together? And I like to answer people this. Imagine, okay, you find someone that you really care about, you like the same things, and guess what? They can help you see things that you don't see, because we get an opportunity to have, we don't have to pay a coach anymore.
It's really wonderful. Last year we recorded a new CD, and one of the pieces I played it by myself. And actually, our coach, I will always call him our teacher. And he asked me. He said, because I told him I love Schumann, and he said, I'm going to compose a piece for you based on one of the themes by Robert Schumann. And so I practiced it, and it was just so beautiful. And I asked Kirk, I said, I want the composer, our coach, and you inside, right beside me, because anything that I need, I can ask either of you. And it was really great. I felt like an actress. I mean, they kept saying, okay, now do this. Okay. Here we go. It's really the coolest. I really love it. It's really cool.
And you share what you know. You share. So you're educators as well now.
Oh, yes.
And where and how and with
Well,
who?
we play in schools. Actually, we just finished playing for Key Largo Middle School. And you played with some of the
We've
students
been
in choral.
all over Broward
Yeah.
and Monroe and Miami-Dade counties, because aside from composing and performing and recording, pretty much the other half of our mission is trying to get young people to be interested, not just in what they're being force-fed through the media, but the other 99.99% of human musical and artistic experience.
Yeah.
And frequently, for example, we'll get students asking us in the question and answer, do you play rap? Do you play pop
Yes.
music? Do you do this? I say, you know something? We could, but we're going to give you something that you've never heard before. And it's those aha moments that we keep looking for. You might not reach everybody, but there'll be a few kids who will ask questions, go, I've never heard of Beethoven. I've never seen a piano, for God's sakes.
Oh my goodness.
And truly, and
It's amazing.
to be able
It's
to go
really
in
amazing.
and see those moments. I mean, that's another thing that we're really excited and live for.
And the other thing is we have a festival in Massachusetts called Cranberry Coast Concerts. And we have one of the concerts that is all, we audition the kids, and we call it the Outstanding Young Artist, and gives them a chance to be presented, and we give them a master class, and so it's great. I mean,
As a matter of fact, in our previous season, one of the young artists who was in 5 or 6 of the previous years, he was able to develop a full solo piano recital and gave his professional debut.
Oh, so cool.
In last
How
season.
rewarding, how
It was-
rewarding.
it was
Isn't
incredible.
How wonderful.
You know, the most beautiful thing was to watch his teacher that he works with. He was backstage. He was more nervous than
He doesn't smoke, but you could tell he wanted to.
He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. We went through it. He said, "Oh," and I could breathe deeply. You know.
Wonderful.
You also seem to have, I was on surfing the net and I found you have a website, and you seem to be using the internet and the cyber world in an aggressive way to get your message out. Can you talk a little bit about what you do that way?
Sure, we're trying to
Something
take it.
Beethoven didn't do.
I don't know. It's a two-edged sword because he also wasn't distracted by it.
Yeah.
And
true.
so there's a certain point we always say, okay, we've been plugged into the Borg too much. We need to practice. We need to compose. But yes, we have a few websites. Unconservatory.org is an archive of resources for teachers and students and parents, things that we've collected over the years. There's not a whole bunch of bells and whistles on it, but when you get in there's a bunch of really wonderful articles.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the ones that we were talking about sharing is the link unconservatory.org/CELAM.
Yeah.
talks about our project Celebrating Americans. It's a recording, and several years ago we were given a grant by the state of Florida to hook up that recording with some educational materials that are free for download if they're used in the classroom.
How about that?
Nice.
So do you curate, how does that work with your site? Do you curate the information that you put on there, and do you put work from other artists? Do you also use video, or is it only written articles? Or
Yeah, at this point, it's that is just an archive. At a certain point, we will overhaul it to include videos and things. But with the advent of Facebook, we've been really pushing it. It's so easy for us to go to from wherever we are in the world. And the other sites we have are facebook.com/unconservatory and facebook.com/CCC Festival talks about our festival up in Massachusetts and so forth. But people can find us on Facebook and they'll see we have our hands in a whole bunch of different websites and pushing content.
What are you going to be doing in Monaco?
Thanks, gamble.
Our life is enough of a gamble, thanks.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, this is a project that I was contacted by our partners, Marc Solilaris and Frédéric Chauvel in France. A gentleman on his 65th birthday decided that he wanted to write and conduct his own symphony at his 70th birthday. His big challenge is that he didn't know, nor does he know how to, doesn't write or read music.
Just one little thing, you know.
But he's a fabulous listener. He's listened to so much music.
It's amazing, and he retains it.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be talking to you about La Bohème and start singing parts of it, or
the viola
Tristan
part from the second
Isolde,
act, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
just unbelievable.
And so he's essentially hired me to do the technical parts, the scoring and parts production and
How
arrangement.
nice.
And so that's going to be premiered in Monaco in 2018.
Well, let's
So-
watch a little bit more of you in action.
Wonderful.
2 pianos, 4 hands. You're known for adding humor to your acts. Now,
Oh,
is that
no.
planned? Is that planned or just spontaneous?
Both. You know, with me, it could be really both, because some things that has happened in our concerts, but there's some things that we do plan, because I like it for people to feel at home listening to the classical music. I don't want them to come and go, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to react? And so we explain the piece before and give them a little enthusiastic, and then we add some humor. We not in every piece, but you know, so.
But that's wonderful, though, because you're making something that could be so daunting to people. You're making it accessible and you're making it fun, and that's a great way to introduce new audiences to a medium that they're not familiar with.
Well, people forget, I mean, at one point, you know, even Bach's music was new and fresh and exciting. He had to write a cantata every week, for God's sake.
I gotta tell you, I mean, one of my favorite memories, we were doing this concert. We have this arrangement that he wrote for 2 pianos of Beethoven's 5th Symphony. And there was a young little boy sitting in the first row, you know, moving through it. And so I said, and now we're gonna play this piece. This was rock and roll back in those days. I mean, you know, people just went crazy. I mean, some ladies even threw their panties. Oh my goodness! And so, I mean, he was like this. And would you believe it? At the ending that we finished playing, he said, "That rocked." I knew we got it. You know. So.
Do you play rock and roll?
Yes, we
Jazz?
do. Actually, we've done the dueling pianos. We've done everything.
Dueling pianos.
Dueling
Yeah,
pianos.
our motto is from Bach,
From Bach
to rock.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
I like
So
that.
we have to ask, what rock do you do?
Oh, Billy Joel, the Rolling Stones.
Well, and
Anything.
we have a production this summer. We're doing a spectacular night tribute to the 70s at our festival.
Yes.
So, you know, the
With
thing.
lots of comedy.
Yeah. But I mean, for us, the thing we try to promote to people is that, you know, music in every age, there's something wonderful that you can find from it. And, you know, some stuff that's not so great. We try to pick the good stuff.
Thank goodness. That's
Do you
wonderful.
like pretend to be Captain and Tennille?
Funny you mention it. We will
I'm doing that one.
We will do that this summer in one number.
Oh, how fun.
Last year we did It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And I was Lucy doing the Bairamira Benjamin with just a little bit of Cuban accent.
So talking about, I mean, obviously you do so much. Let's talk a little bit more about the musical, the new musical that you have.
I started writing this musical a few years ago. I won't say how many, because he kept me so busy, you know, learning his pieces. But the musical is about a family that tries to leave from Cuba, coming to United States. And it's not all about my story. What I did is that I took different stories of my family and friends. And I did a lot of research, because I don't want anybody coming saying, that didn't happen. Because like I said, check this book, and this one, and this one. So, but it's the story of this family leaving and coming to United States. And it really, I think it also hits home to some other countries coming to United States. Any refugee.
Yeah, I mean, all the Syrian refugees, and it's something that's been happening for millennia to different groups of people.
It takes place in the United States or Cuba and the United States?
Both places.
It does.
takes place in Cuba, then in Spain, because a family tries to leave through Spain and then coming to the United States. At one point, they're in like the 3 different places, so it's...
And there's a scene that takes place in Moscow.
Yeah, because of course the main character is a pianist, and and she goes to Moscow to do the Tchaikovsky competition.
And she wins.
Okay, so now we have here, I have several of these that I've saved from back when, but this one particularly, Celebrating Americans, is the latest.
Actually, that's the one connected to the website, unconservatory.org/CELAM. And it has our recording of Rhapsody in Blue, My Ballet Suite, and several other American
Linus and
pieces.
Lucy.
classics.
Linus and Lucy.
And
Yes.
this, I'm just reading it, I find The Poet Variations on a Theme by Robert Schumann. Marilyn Morat piano solo. So it's 5 poems, 4 hands.
Yeah, this is an amazing work, and I'm
One
not,
of the hardest pieces we ever had to learn.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
talking about our performance. The pieces.
Beautiful.
There's some improvisations that Matthew and I did that are spontaneous. We did about 24 improvisations and selected the best 4 for this CD. The other solo piece that Marilyn mentioned, the Schumann variations, and the centerpiece is called 5 Poems, 4 Hands. And he started this work in 2002, and we got it in 2006, worked on it on and off for 5 years, recorded it in 2010, premiered it in 2012, and it was released finally in 2015.
Wow.
And a massive, massive, wonderful work for 1 piano, 4 hands.
So-
Wow.
Because this one I have. What year did you do this? Because I think it was the only one you had then.
Oh my, that was that was in the previous century. That was 1990.
Which one is that?
Danzas para dos pianos.
Dances
Dances for
para
two
los
pianos.
pianos.
And that one, we both have compositions there. I have
What year?
1999.
That's when you were, so it's a few years ago.
Just a few years ago.
But that's because you were touting this when you were on the show.
Right, right.
And
See, they can tell Oliver Lay really works.
oh, Marilyn, you're not alone. That's for sure.
If someone wants to buy, I mean, these are wonderful. How do they go about purchasing these?
Yes,
these
there's so
CDs?
many.
Best way to do that right now is just to contact us, send us an email, unconservatory@whipmo.com.
At
Yeah.
Whipmo, WHIPMO for Whipple.
Yeah,
there you go.
I actually wanted to go Mo Whip, but
This is a public school presentation. So.
oh boy, okay.
Either way, you could like ride in the hood with that. Whip mo, mo, whip.
You know, same works.
Well, once you have your musical up and running, you'll have these in the booth outside, like you do
my
on
gosh.
Broadway.
Yes,
all the time.
merchandising,
Whoops.
we certainly will.
You know,
Yeah.
I actually started writing the musical because we used to live in California. And people in California have no idea of anything from Cuba. So actually there was, the thing that really sparked me was I read a letter from the editor talking about this woman talking about the things in Cuba, and she had it all wrong, so I had to set her straight. And so I wrote a letter to the editor, and they printed it. And so after that, I said, you know, I got to do this. I just have to. And so, and I embarked in it, and I had to, as a teacher, I had to learn a lot because I had never written a guaguancó, which has, my musical has lots of different rhythms and different styles of music. So,
Are there any planned productions of the musical coming up?
actually, we're trying. We're trying
Well, this
to,
summer is going to be in Cranberry Coast Concerts.
Yes.
We're doing the actually a couple years ago we did the just the songs. Now this summer it's the songs and the dialogue and
dialogue.
incidental music. So everything in the play and music is going to be presented. And then we're working on a production in South Florida that hopefully we'll be able to come back and tell everybody about.
Nice,
And that's-
bravo.
yeah, what are the performance outlets where you do perform here? The schools you mentioned, but do you have?
Well, sometimes we perform in Miami Conservatory. Sometimes, but I think the musical we're still working where we're going to do it.
Yeah, we have to keep mum's the word until we have the
Yeah.
agreement with the Senate.
Sure.
Did you both get started in music while you were in school, or was that something that your parents started you on at home and then?
Actually, since I was born in Cuba, I started when I was 4.5. I just wanted to do it. My mom kept saying, we have to wait till she's 5. And I just kept going to the piano and my mom said, okay, that's it. We just
And
have
I
to do
started
this.
at age 7, which is, of course, she had the head start. That's how she was able to beat me at the competition.
But I kept going. We left Cuba to go to Spain, so that's true in my musical. But I kept going through musical throughout.
Do you provide music education for kids outside of the school setting, or?
We do. When we can, we offer private workshops. Again, especially up in our summer festival, we have a little bit more of a chance to work one-on-one or in small groups with kids. But in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties, we invite schools to have us come in and do 1 or 2 or 3 day workshops with their kids that we can co-plan with the administrators and the lead music teachers.
Do you find the interest in classical music and particularly classical piano is the same as it always was, less, more? What do you see has changed over the last few years?
Oh, it's really, in some parts, it's really hard. I mean, even we played in Kiev. We went to Kiev and we played there with our friends, 2 pianos and 8 hands. And they were complaining about it.
Complaining about what?
About the classical, trying to get more people to go to the classical music. And what I find is that some people are just, standoffish because they don't know. And then once you get them there, they're all excited.
Yeah.
And
Get people
so-
into the hall and they will be converts.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Well, we are what we consume, and so much of pop culture is with pop music and you know, things that aren't classical. And I think sometimes maybe if the culture promoted that kind of music more, then maybe people would be more open to receiving it.
Yeah, it's tough to compete with that bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, and so one of the things we are actually pushing to do is get people who are in the media to promote
Yes.
You find you need
more
a
interesting
gimmick. I
things.
find everything, you gotta have a gimmick.
Gotta have a gimmick.
And I just think the idea of the two of you performing, you know, together and everything, you are the gimmick, you know, because you enjoy each other, and as a result, everybody enjoys you. I'm going to go out because I want our audience to see some more of you in action. So I thank you, Marilyn. I thank you, Kirk. Wasn't that wonderful? Right?
Thank you all so
you
much.
so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, and I always thank you, our audience. And again, education. I always encourage you to go to the theater, but please go to the opera, go to the ballet, and go to the symphonies. Thank you.